G'day guys, what's going on? I'm back again for another video. So I know I've mentioned this before, but we're going to discuss some funding. Before I do, if you could please go down and subscribe, that would be awesome. Really helps out. Alright, so let's discuss some funding. I know I've done a few videos on this, but I get a lot of people, especially when it comes to making films, whether roles are paid and things like that. Now, I understand people want to get paid, that's fine. The only thing is, you need the money to do it. A lot of actually, I'm going to say there's a lot of, and I don't really care if people give me their opinions or feedback. It's my opinion, and I know it's actually happening because I've been told by people overseas in different countries that it's just the lack of support that's here as well. So anyway, short of funding yourself, which I see a lot of young people, which is great, funding their own projects, and that's awesome. The problem is when you're young, you don't have really rent to pay, car loan or whatever, or half to 3/4 of your wages going on bills. So you're able to put money away, put money aside to be able to fund your project. So that's not even an issue to discuss. Or you might have friends or family who are excuse me, who you're lucky enough to be able to contribute. But when the older people trying to make films have responsibilities, it's a lot harder to put the money away yourself, especially a lot of people like me who are on a single income, rent to pay, stuff like that. So that's why we try to run crowdfunders. I've just created a store on Redbubble, which I'll link below, which has merchandise, and some of it is very specific. There's I've created merchandise for certain characters from Tales From The Outlands, because that's going to be an anthology, and any of the money from those sales will go towards the project. I've also created just some generic horror merchandise as well. So yeah, and again, that's it's stuff that I'm trying to do to get funds in as well. The other one is cryptocurrency. So I listened to 5 podcasts in the car on filmmaking, and 4 out of them have talked about how between NFTs and just normal crypto, how they've been able to fund their films. And it comes down to a mindset and a mentality of people, because if you say, okay, there's someone says I'll put in $100, if they put in $100 in crypto, it to them it doesn't translate the same as an actual physical $100 bill or that type of thing. It's just, okay, well, it's cryptocurrency, it's whatever it is. And it's similar to when I worked in retail. If you put $19.95 on a product, or you put $19.99, they're going to go $19.99 because they think they're saving money. Or if you put $20 on, or put $19.95, sorry, they prefer $19 because they think they're saving some money. It's all in people's heads. And so yeah, I mean, like I said, we have one investor for Aversion at the moment. It's enough. Well, it's not enough to get the film made, but it's a start. And I've got a few other things in the pipeline. I've got some people donating us some stuff that we're going to probably run a crowdfunder for. I was going to run an auction, but it's too hard. Run a crowdfunder for and sell those products online. On the crowdfunder. But I also wanted to know, and let me know in the comments, everybody, because the last lot of videos I put out, nobody's even commenting, which obviously you guys don't. I know you're watching it, but you can't be bothered, which is fine. I'm just going to keep putting videos out, do whatever you need to do. About what you want to see in a crowdfunder. Now, a lot of the ones that I look at, the digital perks are the ones that seem to perform the best. So, a digital copy, maybe a digital script, posters, things like that. I myself prefer physical copies, like Blu-rays, not so much DVDs. Even having, maybe paying for to have your voice in the film, or if you live in Perth, having your face maybe on a poster somewhere in the film, or even There's some for like $1,500 where you get you get to be in the film with a talking role, things like that. There's not a lot of the physical perks now that people want, like t-shirts and things that can be posted out to them, because they can be available at the screenings and stuff. So let me know what you guys, or what you all prefer to see. And I know a lot of you, I've put this on Perth filmmaking community before, and a lot of you have said if you like the people or the project appeals to you, you'll help out. That's fine. But the problem we also have here is the talent. Okay, we do not have the talent here, besides maybe one or two, to be able to sell or fund a film on its own merits. Okay, there is no one besides maybe Miles Pollard or one or two others. There's nobody here in Perth to sell that we can say, okay, put them on the box and they'll sell the film. We have to get someone from the eastern states. So when I have people say to me, oh, I put a casting call out, is it paid? I'm like, well, what have you done? They say, oh, I've done 6 or 8 films. Where are they? Oh, they're either not finished, or they're in film festivals, or whatever. If you do not have a body of work that we can see, that I can see, why should I go out of my way to pay you to be in a film when I've seen nothing you can do? Do you see what I'm saying? And the amount of people that say to me, oh, when I'm casting, oh, have you got a lead role for me? It's like, well, even if I see you do something, if I don't think you're right for that lead role, why would I give you a lead role? And they don't want to be extras, and so it's like, well, just go away. And I know this is going to upset people, and I don't really care. I just don't care. Opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one, so it is what it is. So if you do want to be in a film and it is paid, you have to have something to show. The amount of people that I ask, young people, older people, what have you done? And there are people that I've seen. There's even people I ask to audition. I'm just going to turn this down a little bit. People that I ask to audition, and they're like, oh, why do I need to audition? You know what I can do. Everybody auditions. I'm sure Chris Hemsworth doesn't, still auditions. Sam Worthington, all them, I'm pretty sure they still have to audition. They don't go up and say, oh no, I'm just going to do it. If you want to be in a film, make your own. Write your own film. Make your own film. You might not be that good, but if you want to act in something and you don't feel you're getting enough, do it. And that's where it comes down to funding as well. When we do run crowdfunders, regardless of the amount, it also comes down to promoting it and sharing it. I go out of my way to share it on everything I can, and we might have, I don't know, say just 10 people between cast and crew if it's a small film. In the last few crowdfunders I've run, I guarantee you, because I've seen the numbers, that three out of probably the 10 people we had shared it. So you're never going to get where you want to get to. And everyone has that mentality of you just fund it yourself, or go through Screen West. Screen West isn't the answer. If you've ever applied to them, you'll know the hoops you have to jump through. Any government funding, any government body, the hoops you have to jump through, it's absolute. And the chances of getting it, unless you meet certain criteria, like have certain diverse actors or certain genres. I know that they're not big fans of horror, that sort of thing. It's every now and then they might, and I don't do that. I'm not going to sell out just to get funding from them. I'm not going to say, yeah, I'll make a family or whatever, a full female film just to get funding from them. That's not what I want to do. I'm going to stick to my guns, do what I do, and I do eventually want to be the premier horror studio in Perth, independent studio that makes horror. That's it. But again, it comes down to it. So I will be trying to put my own money into Tales From The Outlands. We're doing it as an anthology, so every script we do will be independently funded. Like I said, any merchandise that I sell will be that's dedicated to that will be going towards the film. If anybody puts any money towards it, whether they put in crypto, all that will be going to the film as well. I'll leave links to everything in the video. If you do feel like, okay, you want to put some money in, let me know. But also, it's hard. It's hard. I don't want to get to a point where, everyone's like, oh, there's no point in getting someone who's never acted before. Like the casting call that I put out for Red Skull and Ghost for Jason. A lot of the ones that have come back have said that haven't done anything, and that's fine because they're essentially featured extras, a few fight scenes, a little bit of dialogue. That's absolutely fine. But I would not cast them in a lead role because they've said we don't have headshots, or we haven't done any acting as far as that goes. We're just at acting school, and that's awesome. You know, it's good they want to be involved, and at that level, the specific character we want them for, that's absolutely perfect. But I'm not going to cast them in a lead role. Okay, so this video, I know this video might seem a bit harsh for people, and you'll be like, oh, this guy's a retard, whatever. I don't care. You know, I just do not care anymore, and I'm going to do what I need to do. I'll make the films I'm going to make. I'll release the merchandise I'm going to release, and people buy it, they buy it. If they don't, they don't. You know, I was chatting to someone earlier today from the US on Facebook and what is it? LinkedIn and Twitter. So I'm interviewing a lady who has a a podcast on Twitter called the Micro Budget Filmmaker. I'll be interviewing her later on in August. It'll be sometime last weekend of August. But they all said the same thing. They said it's where we are. You know, it's there in the US, or there's some in the UK, that type of thing. And it's just the demographic we're in. People do not want to. People would rather spend $5 on a coffee than put that towards helping out creators. And that's why I ask what sort of perks people would prefer, because we are going to run a crowdfunder for Aversion. It'll probably be end of this year, start of next year. We may end up doing like similar to what Aaron did with Thorns and Thistles with the Australian Cultural Fund, because that is up to can be up to 40% tax rebate. But again, you can't get physical you can't get perks, you can't get digital downloads, you can't get scripts or anything, because the tax rebate is the reward. So then you have to organise privately a way to get those. So there's pros and cons about all of them. And we are still trying for private investing. And like I said, we got these other two companies that are giving us some goods or products to. I'm not going to run an auction because it's just too hard, but we'll probably add them as part of the crowdfunder. One of them's custom made, only one of 7 ever made in the world, that type of thing, and they're making it they're making it custom, making it for the film, however you want to say it. So yeah, one of them's getting posted out tomorrow, so should be here this week. I'm not going to give away what it is, but they will be used in the film. So once the film's actually made, if you do decide that you want to put money towards it, then we'll get that particular item once the film's finished. If the film gets made, you will get it, and it would have been worn by actors. So anyway, again, I just wanted to reiterate that it's fine to message me and say paid. The reason I put paid calling out for Jason is because I'm looking at funding it myself, and my writer, Aaron Smith, who's helping me write this, he's also willing to go halves as well. So because we can see the potential with Tales from the Outlands as well, more as an anthology than a film, because there's 7 or 8 different actual characters in the film. To have each of their story done and release it as an anthology, a bit like Black Mirror and stuff, would work better than doing the one film, as I'm trying to avoid sort of as many backstories or flashbacks as possible, whereas the origin stories give you that. Then we may film the feature after that, but with all of them combined with the same theme and put into an anthology, I think will work better. So again, we have to come up ourselves with the money for each one. So Gabriel was, I think, a 6-page script. The one we're doing now, Jason, which I printed off today, is a 42-page script. But again, that I have to go through and mark. But again, that is essentially 2 main locations, 2 houses, or a house and an apartment, or a house or whatever. But the rest is a park, a street, things we don't need to pay for. And there's really only 3 main actors: Jason, Tanaka, and Jessica, and Bobby, who's Jessica's kid. They're really the only 3.5, because I'm calling it kid half actors. The rest are just sort of the extras of fit. And Will sort of comes in and out as we go along. And that's what we're trying to do with this, to keep it to a minimum, to make it easier to be able to fund. Now, there are venues like that house in Joondalup, which is awesome. That's $350 a day, and the lady there supplies catering for up to 10 people. But again, it has its limitations. You can't film at night time because the lady's a teacher and that's when she's grading and marking. So you have to film during the day when she's at work. Then comes the logistical problems of blocking out windows. It's a 2-story house if you need to use a bedroom. The rate drops if you supply your own catering or whatever, but then weekends is hard as well because if the kids are there weekends. So although these properties and that are being offered up, which is awesome, you have to also work out the logistics of that as well. I could film here where I am, but the problem is I've only got a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment, and it's not big enough for what we need. So I may have to call in some favours, and which is fine. There's a lot of people that are happy to reciprocate, and they're the ones we remember. But I didn't come on here to sort of have a dig at anyone. I just come on here to let you know that if there is, it's in general. If there's a paid casting call put out there, and the amount of and you say, oh, I want to be the lead or I want to do this, show us what you've done. If you've got films in film festivals, that's fine. Obviously you can't. But, I know people that have done 6, 8, 10 films, and I have not seen one of them. Not one. They're like it's either not complete or it's, they haven't given us the footage, which is a load of crap because you're entitled to the footage if you're not getting paid. Or it's in festival but hasn't been finished or whatever the case. So why would you be entitled to, get a paid role over somebody else who's got a body of work out there, might not be as good an actor, but actually has a body of work that you can see and see what's been done. And the other thing on that is it gets to a point where I believe personally, and again this is just my opinion, that you can have too much of someone on the screen. I know some actors that have stopped acting because they said there's enough of them out there. The last thing you want to do is go to somewhere like the Backlot or Luna and say if there's 5 movies showing in one night and one person's in 4 of them, I just won't watch them, because there are people that can't change what they do. So what I mean by that is if you're acting and say there's 4 action films and 1 comedy, and that one person's in the 4 action films, they're all going to look the same. The way they talk, the way they act, it's very, very rare they're able to change anything. It's the same with watching that same person if they go from doing an action to a comedy. It's just, it doesn't work most of the time. Stick to something and you don't have to take every film or every casting call that comes along. When the industry here is not professional enough to do it. And I guarantee you, if someone had 6 casting calls and they got 3 of them, 1 of them would be paid. So then every time a casting call gets put up on PFC, it's like, is it paid, is it paid, is it paid? But I guarantee they do 2 out of 3 for free. And that's what annoys me, because there is not that many paid jobs in Perth. I know for a fact there's not. I know most of the people that are making the films, and they've told me. And there's some people who've told me straight out, I'll do it for free if I know the people and I like them. Otherwise, it'll be paid. And so they're the people that I don't bother contacting. So just be very careful with what projects you're accepting, where you expect to be in that project as far as a lead, an extra, supporting, whatever it is, and make sure you have a body of work. There's IMDb. Everybody should at least have 1 IMDb credit for the amount of films that people say they've been in. You should have at least 1 IMDb credit. Star now, well, that's backstage. That's neither here nor there. You can leave it, take or leave it. But also, people that have been in 50, 60, however many films here, again, I go back to this, we do not have them as a marketable person, So if I was to make a film that had a decent budget, let's just throw a number out, 200,000, all right? And I said, okay, I'm going to cast this person who's been in 80 films in Perth. That film will not sell, because nobody in the eastern states, I shouldn't say nobody, nearly 90% of people in the eastern states or overseas will not know who that person is, because they're not big enough. Okay, again, except for the exceptions like Miles Pollard or someone like maybe one or two others, it won't work. So you can't expect to have, even if you have a 50 grand budget, you can't, unless you niche down in certain genres, okay, where you might have a chance. You can't expect a straight up a straight up comedy, straight up action, straight up drama to make any money back, because even the research we've done on indie rights or Movie Central, things like that, the genres that sell are horror, thriller, and the subgenres of that, supernatural, sci-fi, slasher, those type of things. They are what sell, and it's proven. That's why a lot of people like Jay Horton, who's made The Craving, and got funded. There are two brothers that are the exception to the rule for crowdfunding, which are the Mahal brothers, Michael and Sonny. They launch crowdfunders and they get the full funding, but they have access to talent. So they use B grade like Richard Greco, Tara Reid, Michael Madsen. Can't remember his name at the moment. The dude with all the tattoos. But they have access to them, so they secure them. The last film they did, they even got Eric Roberts and Kevin Sorbo for a couple of days. So they'll raise the 150 or 180,000 they need to make the film, pay them, and then they'll do another one for finishing funds, usually for 40 or 50 grand. And they've funded their last 11 films. They're an exception to the rule because they already have the ability and the access to that talent to lock in. We don't have that here. We couldn't say, okay, we've raised $200,000 and now we're going to have anyone here to sell the film. It won't happen. You'd have to go over east and get someone like a Daniel Gillies, who was in the originals, or Claire Holt, or anyone, even Isla Fisher maybe, or Lincoln Lewis, or someone like that either ex-Home and Away or ex-Neighbours or whatever it is. And then you have to pay for them to come here and accommodation, and you have to allow do a need 3 or 4 days, whatever the case may be. So we don't have that luxury here. And that's what people have to realise, is that most of the work you're going to get here is not paid. And if you are lucky enough to get paid, don't expect, unless you have a body of work to get a lead role or things like that. And when people say to me, "Oh, I've got a cast, I've got a film coming up," and they say, "Oh, can I have a lead role?" It's like, well, no. I'll say, I could see, because there's other factors. You might not have the look, you might not have the height, you might not have, the physical aspects that are needed for a role. So, although you might have great talent and be a great actor and have been in films that have won awards and stuff like that, you might not be the part for the role. And we're not just going to go casting someone just for the sake of it. And even with film festivals, I'm going to do a video on that later. But it's if I put into festivals, I'm going to be going to the higher end festivals. All these people that say, "Oh, we've won 30, 40 festivals." Yeah, okay, but they're $5, $6, $8, $10 festivals. You can buy the award for. I could go to a trophy shop in Rockingham and buy an award for $10 and say, "I've won this." They're of no significance unless you're in the tier 1 or tier 2 festivals, which I will do another video on later. So, to say I've won 30 awards and 30 festivals. Yeah, which festivals? $5 one in India, $10 one in Afghanistan. Try Sundance or South by Southwest or Tribeca or one of those ones and see how you go. I know people here that don't even get a WA Made festival, but they'll win an award in a $5 festival, and they think, in some country you've never heard of. So, just before everybody here starts getting ahead of themselves too much, just take a step back and say, what's really happening? Why is Perth not getting, except for the government funding and a few exceptions to the rule of people who have businesses who might be millionaires that can fund their own projects? There are exceptions, yes, I do understand that. But the average Joe, like myself and other filmmakers, take a step back and say, why are a lot of these projects not getting funding, or are we not getting paid? And the reason is because the support. People don't want to share the projects out or share the crowdfunders, and everybody thinks that most people think they're bigger than they are. They think they deserve more than they should be getting. Okay, so I still have people messaging me now saying, have you got any films that you might have roles for? I said, yes, well, I've got some coming up, send me what you've done. And in the last 3 days, 3 days, I've had 4 people message me, and not one of them had a headshot, not one of them had a show reel, and they've done 10 films. They said, oh, my headshots need upgraded, or my show reel's not finished because the films haven't been finished. It's like, well, I'm not going to cast you then in the role you want because you don't have anything you can show me. Even auditioning is that's probably another video for down the track. So anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up, and like I said, send whatever hate you want in the comments, or whatever opinions you got. I don't really care. I will post links to some like my merch store down the bottom. If you do feel like you might want to put some funds towards any project, whether it's Aversion or Tales From The Outlands, you can message me privately or whatever. I'll put a link maybe to an NFT that I've done for Aversion. It does have an unlockable. It has a poster and an unlockable piece of content in there. Again, it's only about $80, and that money would go towards it. So just bear that in mind. If you are going to if I do put a casting call out and you are going to contact me, make sure you have something to show me. Headshot's not good enough. Make sure you have some video, some footage, a trailer, whatever. Even if you've done one film and you have a trailer with you in it, that's fine. A show reel. But do not contact me and say, have you got any lead roles going, and have nothing to show for it, because you'll get put to the bottom of the list, or even put into the recycle bin. And that's how it's going, because I'm in between jobs now, but I'm looking at moving my production, what I do, 100% forward this year. I have things in the pipeline that I'm working on. I have a contact that I've been speaking to as well, a few other things going on here and there. And when it actually does eventuate, which it will, it might take a year or 2 years, there will be people that will be left behind because, they wouldn't support myself and others when we're down, so you're not worth supporting us when we're up either. So just keep that in mind, everyone. Again, I'll have links to different things in the bottom. I'm not a big fan of PayPal, so I probably won't put PayPal in there unless people prefer that. But again, leave your comments on what you want to see in a crowdfunder, what you would put money towards besides the support, knowing the people in the film, and besides the story of what the film's about, because not every crowdfunder has a trailer, and a lot of the trailers that I see are from stock footage. People buy stock footage and make the film, so it's not actually the footage from the film either, and they're still getting funded. So leave it in the comments if you prefer digital perks, like a digital copy of the film, things like that. I think someone put for $30 you could have your name or a poster with your face on the wall in a picture somewhere, or for $50 or $100 you can have your name or say some lines being said, whatever it is. There are certain perks obviously that only apply to here, because if you're overseas you can't pay $1,500 and get a role in the film, because it's just not going to cover the airfare. So there are certain things that you can and can't do. But again, I'm going to keep running crowdfunders anyway, regardless of what support we get, and I know who the people are that do it, and I understand people want return on their investment on films, but again, the only two guarantees in life are death and taxes, so there's no guarantee that you're going to get any money back. The only way you might have is by making specific genres that do sell, doing your research, and those genres are horror, thriller, and very rarely action or drama. Comedy hardly sells. So again, if you want to hit me up and you want to have a go at me for whatever, I don't care. I really do not care. I have the people I know that I want to use who support me, and I will keep using them, cast and crew, whatever the case may be. I know people that will always put towards a crowdfunder, whether it's $5, $50, $10, $100, and that's fine. I'll use Indiegogo because I know even if it's for $5,000 and I only get $200, I still get to keep the $200. So it helps, but it is what it is. So I've got a short film that I will be doing. It'll only take one day, maybe 2 days to film. I got the script off Script Revolution. The guy gave it to me for nothing to make because he's from the UK and he's got 6 other projects. So I've virtually done the casting for that. Just got to make my mind up on a few other roles. I'll probably film that the next couple of weekends because I'm funding that myself. And then the next big one is going to be Jason's origin story. Like I said, 42 pages. Going to go through breaking this down. I've basically got I should be getting the auditions to look at soon for Skull, Red and Ghost, and for the character of Bobby. By the way, if you know any boys or girls who are around 7 years old that might have an expression of interest of playing the role of Bobby, can be male or female, email me. I'll leave the email in the link below as well. I've had one person respond for a girl, and she's about 9, but she could pass for 7. The reason it's 7 is because the actress playing Jessica is 25, and it's just the way the story works out, we can get away with a 7-year-old. So if you know anybody that might be interested, let me know. Again, the ones playing Skull and that will be paid, but not as much as obviously the ones playing the main characters. I'm even forking out money for Fiverr to get posters done. All this sort of thing that people don't see going on in the background is what I'm funding myself, as well as the normal bills in life that you have to pay. Whereas if you're a young filmmaker, if you're maybe 18 to 23 or 25, still living at home or doing whatever, you don't have those worries. You might not have a car payment, you might not have rent, so you can put all your money away to make films and get paid, and that's fine. And if all you ever want to do is paid work, well then good luck to you, and you're probably not going to have much of a portfolio by the end of it. So anyway guys, that's it for this video. I just wanted to jump on, and not even a rant, I just wanted to let you know that I'm thinking of even running a crowdfunder for Tales from the Outlands for the anthology, to try and see if I can raise a certain amount so we can make each film. And also we're entering, I don't know, it's like I think for a development grant. It's through AACTA or something, to do with it's I think it's to do with horror, but you've got to have like a mother aspect to it. And because Aversion has certain things that go on with one of the actors' mothers, we're going to be applying for that. So that's a development grant. If we get it, it helps. If we don't, well then at least we know we've tried. So I'm not shying away from trying those options, but I'm exhausting every option I got before we get to a point where we're like, okay, we have to do it. So I myself want to try for private investment, and I want to try and fund as much as I can. And so therefore, there will be more projects coming up that will be paid and things like that. But that's if it all works out. So anyway, guys, like I said, I'll put links in the bottom. Leave me comments in the bottom of what you want to see on a crowd. And that's the other thing. When I say support, if I say, someone needs, I'll support you with cast or crew. I don't need support with cast or crew or equipment. I have people with cameras. I have people with sound. I have lighting. I have everything I need as far as equipment, as far as cast go, crew go, that sort of thing. But to pay them, I need the money. So the support that I need to get these projects done and to get everyone where is financial. Okay, I have everything I need. I don't need to hire gear. Okay, so that's that support. I don't need that. I have enough. I know enough people to get it done. All right. It's paying them to be able to keep going with the projects that I want to do, because it gets to a certain point where you have to start paying. You can't just keep doing nothing but if you do feel like working on a film for free, and you feel it's a project you want to give your time to, hey, go for it. That's and like I said, depending on the budget for Aversion, if we get the minimum we need, I may have to call in some favours for locations or whatever it is, but I'll have to work that out. Or there's other ways with payments and stuff. But yeah, if you want to offer support, which I get messages for, I don't need it in the way of equipment. I don't need it in the way of cast and crew. I don't need it in anything like that. Maybe locations here and there. It's financial support that I need in any way, shape or form that you can do it. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. Again, comment if you want. If you want to leave whatever your nasty comments, that's fine. They'll just be blocked or deleted, because personal attacks are just the lowest form you can get. And like I said, everyone has an opinion, and this is just mine. So thanks everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.